Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for October 13th, 2019. So this week I did finish a few things, but not a whole lot. I didn't read anywhere near as much as I wanted to. I'm a little disappointed in myself, but I also have some pretty good reasons. So work has been really busy. Again, I don't get to read much at work. I get to read on my lunch break, and then half the time people are interrupting me because I'm in the lunchroom, because now I can't hide in my office because I share my office and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, or the new, anyway, so I don't get anywhere near as much read at work, and again, I take my breaks, but most of the time that's just looking at my phone instead of pulling my book out, so I need to try to figure out how to get more reading in. I don't do it during my, anyway, never mind. Point is that I didn't read a whole lot when I got home because the first 3 days of the week I was busy. Well, I'd come home from work and then I had to go see my grandmother. So my grandmother's move was on Wednesday and it went really well from what I hear, because again, they did not want me to take a day off. Whatever. So after we'd gotten so much stuff packed up and out that the movers were able to come in and take everything, and they made the trip down, again, a little bit, like almost an hour and a half south from here, so where my parents live, so that there's assisted living down there that she is now at. And again, she's going to be 95 in a couple of weeks, so it was 96, sorry, she is 95, she's going to be 96. So she took the move really well, considering, again, it's a change, so they're slightly different, the situations are a little different, but the room she has a little smaller, because again, she had the other room was bigger she had my grandfather was with her. So, but now that she's on her own, my mom is 10 minutes away. It's great. So this is a little update here. So I spent a lot of time in the first part of the week, though, going over every evening, because she had a pretty bad cold, and so I was giving her medication because we just can't expect her to take it anymore and remember. So I had to come over every night, and it was always a situation where I'd come home, be home for a few hours, and then I had to drive out to go do it before her bedtime. So it was a couple of long nights that way. But again, the move went really well. I'm probably gonna call her today just to check on her again, and just for a while, call. And my mom is really happy with the move, so that's the great thing. Again, I said Grandma was very enthusiastic about being in the new place, and so it should be good. Anyways, that's a little life update. But I did not read a whole lot this week because, as I said, by the time I got to the end of the week, then it was work all very not stressful, like as in said, I still left reasonable. I still didn't make it on my 8 hours, but I made it I was closer to the 9 every day, but at least it was only that. I wasn't pushing 10s this week, which is good for me. I don't know. I have this coworker who works way over, and he's like, oh, but I need the money. And I'm like, it's just not worth it to me because you don't get as much. Anyway, point is, I did what I had to do. Okay, I've ranted enough along around this. Anyway, so that's my little update. Anyway, so I'm just going to talk about the few books that I did finish, and then the books that I'm in the middle of, and then what I'm hoping to read this week, which kind of relate. Anyway, so the first book, what book did I finish first? Oh, I did finish this first. I did finish The Haunted Hotel by Wilkie Collins, and I loved this. Now again, it's not perfect because for him it's really short. The Haunted Hotel is like 25 pages, and so it was still all of his sensational twists and turns and mystery, and not everybody's telling the truth, and you're not quite sure. But this one also has kind of a haunted element to it, which was different because the other ones were more, they weren't like the ones I've read weren't a real haunting, but this was actually, it was really funny because it took about halfway through the book for me to figure out the title and how we were getting to that title. Like, I didn't quite understand where this haunted hotel was, but then I got it. It was a little, maybe I was just a little slow, but I loved this book. I did, again, I thought there was one thing I didn't really like is the Countess was, some of the things she did or said, I was kind of like, I don't know if I really buy that, but everything else was just fantastic, and I just enjoyed it. It was just a fun ride. So, I didn't give this 5 stars because it didn't feel like a 5-star book to me like The Women in White and The Moonstone did. This was just fun, and it's definitely a book I would probably reread in a couple of years just for something fun and short. It was just fun, and I would like to read it again just to catch all the clues again, because that's what I like about his stuff, is that I already want to read the other 2 books that I've read of his in the last 2 years, to reread them, because I want to see all the clues build up to the end again and see how he did that, because it was just really well done, and I really respect his writing for that. The Dream Woman was also included in this book, and I didn't really care for that one so much. It was more of a ghost story, kind of a weird story about a man who, when he was a young man, had kind of a vision of a woman standing over him with a knife, about to stab him. And then years later, it kind of comes to like his future, but it's weird. It's told really weird, and I didn't really care for it. It's only like 30 pages, but it wasn't my favorite of Wilkie Collins. Clearly, I've only read now 3 books, this one and the other 2 that I mentioned. And I definitely wanted to pick up another one right away, but I told myself I couldn't read only Wilkie Collins this month because I had so many other things on my TBR and other ones that I've started that I haven't finished. So, but this reinforces the fact. Now I've read a Wilkie Collins each Victober that I have participated in. And again, I am taking place in Victober, which is taking place in that, which is reading Victorian literature for the month of October. So you'll see a lot of that. But this is... I really want to read more of him, and I have to make sure I read more of him, but outside of Victober. Because now I've read 3 books, and they've all been in Victober, but I don't read them during the rest of the year, and it's ridiculous. I have like 6 of his books, and there's more on my wish list that I want. So I'm still going to go try to find more of them, and I have one in the mail on the way to me. Anyway, spoiler. So anyway, I totally recommend Wilkie Collins, especially if you like mysteries and like twisty-turnies. Again, a sensational novel to me has been like one of my favorite things about Victober, of discovering that. And again, I've only really read Wilkie Collins, who really classifies as that yet, but I have a couple other books that are like that, or by other authors, that I want to try. But again, I really, really enjoy him. And definitely, I figure if I read more of his books and enjoy them just as much, he'll be one of my favorite, he's already in the top 3 of my favorite Victorian novelists. So, he might be moving up towards 1 here pretty quick. Just, again, I just found him so much fun. And again, that's one of the things about Victober, is you're discovering authors and reading books that you normally might not pick up or didn't know about until I joined BookTube. And I love Wilkie Collins. Anyway, so we'll keep reading him. I'm hoping to read, as I said, more within this next year, instead of just waiting for Victober to read him. Then I picked up The Foundling by Charlotte Bronte. This is technically not, this is not actually Victorian literature, because it was written when she was 17, so it was 1833. So it's not technically Victorian. I still read it because my friend let me borrow it, and I have to give it back to her at some point, and I've had it through the summer. So anyway, this was kind of weird. So Charlotte Bronte and her siblings had made up this world where there was this place in Africa called Vertopolis or something, and it's like, it translates, I think in Latin. It was Latin, I think, to like the glass town. So they had all these characters that they'd used in stories while they were growing up, and so this book was weird because she names people that we should know because from her juvenilia, and is that I would definitely classify this as juvenilia, because she is very good at descriptions even at this point, and I was really impressed with that. But really, the story was kind of weak. So I would not say that this was her best work. Again, she wrote it at 17. I'm impressed that she wrote this at 17. I think it's really good. I just think she makes some narrative decisions that I don't agree with. I don't like the jumping in time at this one point and then telling something and then going back and explaining how we got there. I just want to see things as they happen. And again, that's just my favorite way of getting a story. So it has to do with Edward Sidney, who is found just outside of a cabin, or a little cottage, and he is raised by an older couple who did not have children, and the Lord of the area takes him as a son so that he sponsors him when he goes off to college and university. And then when when he finishes up with university with all these awards, about 22 years old, his foster father passes away. The couple who had raised him had already passed away. We didn't see that anyway. That's spoiler. It isn't like the first couple pages. Anyway, so he wants to go out into the world and make his fortune, or make his well, he wants to, what do you want to say? He wants to be, people to know who he is. I don't know. Make his way in the world. And so he goes to this place, and it's just a bizarre place. And as I said, it was weird. It was hard to read for me. It was only 150 pages, but it was the cringy kind of read that you read when you read something you wrote when you were a teenager. Again, I think her descriptions are fantastic of certain people in the area. Like, I think that imagination-wise it's amazing. That was really well done. So I think it was a weird book. I don't recommend it for everybody. If you are a Charlotte Bronte fanatic, or somebody who really likes all of her books and have read all of her other novels, and you do want to do so. I know that there's some other books of their juvenilia, all the Brontes, but I would pick this up if you were into that. Again, it's the same as Jane Austen's juvenilia. It's only if you really want to go that far and you want to study a little bit more and see the development of her narrative voice. I think that there's a lot in here to see that. I just didn't enjoy that much. It was okay. And again, it's just one of those things. Anyway, and then the only other thing I finished, and this is technically not the right one because I returned it back to the library, but it was The Girl from the Other Side, my Nagabi, and this is number 4. This is what I'm going to read probably this week. This is translated from the Japanese, I believe. Where is the translator? Oh, by Adrienne Beck. So, I really am enjoying this manga series. Again, I don't read as much manga as I used to. I used to read tons. And so I haven't read a whole lot. But this one has really intrigued me because it has to do with the little girl who was left outside because what people thought of her. And she was being watched over by what's called an outsider who is, kind of this dude. But I like him. Anyway, and so that's her right there. Anyway, but and it's kind of the story of the insiders are the people who live in the town that are behind walls. And again, they live outside in the nature in a town that's been deserted. So it's kind of their story of what's going on. And number 3 was really interesting, and things went in a direction I did not expect. So that was cool. So I'm really looking forward to reading number 4. I know there's at least 5 volumes out. I can't remember if there were 6 or not. There might be 6 now, but I don't know. I'm getting through the library. So I'm number 6 for volume number 5. So it'll be a while, but I'll probably read this one within the next week or 2. So anyway, but I did finish that. So then the only other book that I picked up after I finished The Foundling was Bleak House by Charles Dickens. So this is again the behemoth that I picked up last year to do the read-along, the serial read-along with Katie at Books and Things. She had a Goodreads group, and she put up videos for every 3 to 4 chapters. And I read the first 3 months. So that was March through May of 2018. And then I put it down. I'm not good at serial reading. Again, I have real issues with picking up and putting down books. Because when I put stuff down, I usually put it down, which I did. So this has been all my currently reading for a year and a half. So I was like, this is what I'm going to read for Victober. So of course what I did is I picked up the Wilkie Collins and read that first, but that's fine. So now I'm focusing on this one. So I actually reread the first 135 pages that I had read last year, because I remembered some of it, but I didn't remember all the details. And I thought, you know what, if I'm going to go into this massive book where all the details do matter, I'm going to reread it. So I'm glad I did. It makes a whole lot more sense in my head again as I go forward. And I only made it about 156 pages altogether. So I only read another 20 pages past the reread. So I'm so I really am enjoying this. Bleak House follows the court case, or the people who are involved with a court case called Jarndyce and Jarndyce, and it has to do with this will that didn't really get resolved, and so it's in, you know, it's being brought up in court cases with the family members, and there's several generations that have gone through who think they're going to get a payout, and it just doesn't happen. So now we're following a couple of the relatives who are now in line for the money, if anything comes, and their involvement with the case. And then it's kind of talking, it has also a first person narrative, so it's third person for a lot of it, and then the other half is Esther, who is a young woman who has not had the greatest start in life, but she's making the most of it, and I really like her because we get her first person, so it's really nice to get to know her and her situation, because she is moved now to, she's at Bleak House anyway, so which is interesting in itself, setting all the characters there. And again, Dickens is great with all their weird characters, and their names are hilarious. I mean, because it's funny, because one of the, like, I think it's Deedlock is one of the families that is, you know, waiting for a payout, and you know, Deedlock, like deadlock, like they're in this court case forever. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Anyway, there's a lot of other ones that it just makes me laugh. Anyway, he just has funny characters. There's all these weird Snagsby or something. Some weird, and I don't know, there's some other ones. They're just funny. Anyway, I really am enjoying it. It's the first Dickens I've read since The Christmas Carol. I listened to that, and The Chimes, and The Cricket on the Hearth. Did I do one more? I did a couple Dickens at Christmas last year, which was really awesome, with a read along on Instagram. So I haven't really picked up any Dickens before that, except for this book where I tried it last year. But it's been years, so I thought, you know what, I really haven't read a lot of him, and I remembered really liking the couple that I read. So I'm trying to get back into him, and of course I've collected like almost all his books already, so I need to make a move on. So my focus this week is Bleak House. I'm hoping, as I said, I'm hoping to get quite a ways into it. I have them tabbed out still from Katie's read-along, so I can go back. I'm going to go back and watch videos. So since I've passed the 3 that I've already watched, I'm going to go back and rewatch them now that I've reread this, and then I'm going to wait till I get to the marker for number 4, and then I'll just binge 4 of them, and then I'll do that again. Either binge, 2, 3, or 4. I just want to wait till I get a couple of them, and then I'll watch it. So, because their videos are very informative, and I really recommend them if you're reading Bleak House to watch those, because they're very insightful. So anyway, this is my behemoth that I want to finish this month, because again, it's been on my currently reading for over 1.5 years, and I really want to finish it before the end of the year. And if I can get it done in October, that's my goal. If I can get, so my goal, I probably will not finish this whole next week, because that would be incredible, because that's, 700 pages. Yeah, this is 880 pages. So we'll see what happens. As I said, I'm hoping to get at least half of that. If I get 350 pages done, that's my 50 pages a day average. If I get more than that, that's great, but that's kind of where I'm looking at. I think Dickens it takes me a lot longer to read a page in Dickens than it does in other books. It's just, he has a lot of descriptions. He has a lot of dialogue too, but it's just, I don't know, it takes me a lot more. And again, I don't want to miss anything because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. It's really interesting. So, I do want to talk about, I did try to read The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. This was the read-along with Victober's hosts. There's a Goodreads group that has that on there. I've only made it through Act 1. Now, I tried to read this, I think last Sunday, and I've tried to pick it up since then, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. Again, this has to do when something hits one of my most hated tropes, I guess. It's not even tropes, but just, things that people do. And I don't want to read about it. So The Importance of Being Earnest first focuses on a man named Jack, who, when he comes to town, to London, he goes by the name of Earnest, so that his lives are separate. And it talks about things like, by not being truthful. And I have a real problem right off with some guy who decides to change his name while he's in town. And then he's, courting Gwendolyn, and he has this wrong name. So she thinks his name is Earnest, which causes problems. And then he has a young ward who thinks Earnest is his brother because he tells all these stories about him. It gets complicated. And then there's another guy who's going to pretend also that he's Earnest to the ward. Anyway, the point is that I think it's really funny. I think it's written fantastically. Like, I don't deny that. I can totally see it playing out. The problem is, again, I'm not attracted to comedies like this that has to do with lying. I just have issues. So I'm not sure I'm going to read Act 2 or 3. I don't know. We'll see. And next week, or this week, is supposed to be reading an importance. What was the one? A Woman of No Importance. So I don't know anything about that one. So I'm hoping maybe I'll get along with that one better. But I don't know what that one's themed on either. So we'll see. I mean, again, plays are not something I read a lot of. I mean, I've read a lot of Shakespeare back in the day. I haven't read anything recently. But I feel that... I had trouble with it. Anyway, so I don't know how to explain it. So I don't know. Everybody else is talking about how fantastic the importance of being earnest is. And I can't get past the fact that they're all freaking lying. I don't know. There's just something about that. So anyway, I did want to mention I haven't picked up my audiobook for North and South this week. I was so busy and tired, and every time I got in my car, I just put on music. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping to get back to this. Again, this is my reread one, so I'm only about 80 pages in, but I really love this book, so I really want to read. And as I said, I'm listening to it, and I can't remember, is Juliet Stevenson, is that who's narrating? I can't remember now, but it's a great audiobook. It's just, I'm not focusing enough to do that. So, other than that, oh, I didn't see that. Anyway, sorry. I think that's it. So what are you guys doing for Victober? Are you guys doing a lot of reads? I'm trying to get stuff done. I'm not getting through a lot. I am buying a lot of books. So I went to one library book sale last week, as I said I was going to. There's another one this week, and there's one at the end of the month. So that'll be 4 altogether I'm going to. Now the big one was the one I already did, and my book haul for that is already up. But I have 2 more that are going to pop up, and there might be a book ban in my future, and I really have never gotten that to really work for me, but I really am overflowing right now. And especially if I get quite a few books in the next 2, I'm going to have to do another little chat about that and figure out what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do, because I've really binged or taken out stuff out of my shelves already this year that most of the stuff is still here that I want to read. I don't have enough time, and I keep buying books. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so there'll be book hauls in my future. Anyway, so let me know what you guys are reading, if you're taking part in Victober, and if you guys are taking on any really big reads or anything good, let me know. Again, I'm always open for new books. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.